My girlfriend cheated, so I erased myself from her life. If someone told me that a simple weekend trip would end my 5-year relationship, I wouldn't have believed them. My girlfriend, Lily, had been traveling back to her home state quite often this year, once every month, sometimes more. She said it was because her grandparents were old and missed her. I trusted her completely. After all, we'd been together long enough to build a life around each other. Trust was supposed to be the one thing we didn't question. That Friday morning, I helped her pack her bag. She kissed me goodbye, smiled like nothing was wrong, and said, "Don't miss me too much." I laughed, told her to have a safe trip, and went about my day. Everything felt normal, but sometimes, the worst betrayals are wrapped in the illusion of peace. That night, she texted me saying she'd arrived safely and was just hanging with family. I didn't think twice. I told her I loved her, and she sent back a heart emoji. I didn't know it then, but that tiny red heart was the last lie she'd ever send me. The next morning, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Jake, one of our mutual friends. "Hey man, not trying to stir anything, but you should see this." Attached was a screenshot of Lily's Snapchat location. My stomach dropped. She wasn't at her parents' place. She was across town at a random house. And the Bitmoji next to hers? A guy. Not her brother, not her dad, not her cousins. Just some dude I didn't recognize. At first, I tried to brush it off. Maybe it was a family friend. Maybe Snapchat glitched. But deep down, I knew. You can feel it when something shifts that gut-deep twist, when your trust starts to crumble. I zoomed in on the location again and again, hoping the name would change, hoping it was all a mistake. But it wasn't. Jake messaged again, saying, "Sorry, man. I thought you should know." I didn't respond. I just stared at my screen for a long time, wondering how something that felt so real could suddenly feel like fiction. That day dragged on like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I went through the motions, showered, made breakfast, even turned on the TV, but everything felt distant. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart jumped, thinking maybe she'd text to prove me wrong. But she didn't. She sent me one casual message in the afternoon. "Having dinner with my grandparents tonight. They're so happy to see me." I stared at those words until they blurred. I wasn't angry yet, just hollow, the kind of emptiness that makes your chest feel too tight to breathe. I kept asking myself, why lie? Why not just tell me? That night, I didn't sleep. I scrolled through our photos, vacations, birthdays, inside jokes, wondering which version of her had been real. Love makes you blind, but betrayal makes you see in painful detail. Every missed call, every late night at work, every forgot my charger, they all started to fit together like puzzle pieces I never wanted to finish. By morning, I wasn't in denial anymore. I knew what she was doing, and worse, she thought I'd never find out. Sunday morning, I checked her Instagram stories. None. But when I checked the Snapchat map again, she was still at that same house 2 full days now. That's when I called her. No answer. Called again. Straight to voicemail. Later that night, Jake sent me another screenshot. This time, it wasn't a location. It was a photo. Lily, at a local bar, sitting across from the same guy. He had his arm around her. She was smiling, laughing. That carefree, beautiful smile she used to give me. It felt like someone punched through my chest. 5 years gone in a moment. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just sat there in silence, phone in hand, realizing that the woman I loved had become a stranger. And in that quiet, I made a promise to myself. I wouldn't beg. I wouldn't confront her. I would let her have her lie. And then I'd erase myself so completely from her world, she'd wonder if I'd ever existed. Monday morning, I woke up calm. Too calm. That's when I knew I was done. I didn't need her apology. I didn't need closure. I just needed distance. I started with small things. Unfollowed her socials, turned off read receipts, muted notifications. Then I gathered every trace of her in my apartment clothes, photos, toothbrush, that stupid coffee mug she loved. I put it all in a single box. No drama, no fire, just quiet removal. Then I opened my laptop and changed passwords on every shared account, Netflix, Spotify, even our grocery app. I deleted our couple playlists, unsubscribed from joint emails, and cleared our shared cloud storage. Every click felt like cutting a thread that once tied me to her. By the time the sun went down, I'd made my decision final. She'd left to cheat, but I'd leave to heal. She'd return expecting an argument. Instead, she'd find nothing. The revenge wasn't loud. It was silence. And silence, I was learning, can be louder than any scream. By Tuesday morning, I was a ghost walking through my own life. The decision had already been made. I just had to execute it. I opened her drawer in my apartment, carefully removing her things one by one. Her hairbrush, her perfume, her favorite hoodie that she'd accidentally left behind. Each item told a story, but none of them belonged to me anymore. Then I wiped every trace of her from my phone, the photos, the voice notes, the messages. I even deleted the favorites contact where her name used to sit at the top. It felt strange at first, like deleting a part of my history. But as the screen cleared, so did my head. After that, I called the leasing office and told them I'd be vacating the apartment early. The lady asked if everything was okay. I just said, yeah, finally. I spent the rest of the day packing my things into boxes, labeling them quietly. No anger, no sadness, just peace. Because when you stop fighting for someone who wouldn't fight for you, the silence starts to feel like freedom. By Wednesday afternoon, everything was done. The apartment looked empty, too empty. You could almost hear the echo of our laughter that used to fill the space. But I didn't linger. I left my keys on the counter with a small note that simply said, "Don't worry, you won't have to lie anymore." I didn't sign my name. She'd know who it was from. Then I dragged her remaining belongings, the ones too personal to toss into a few garbage bags, and left them neatly by the front door. I wasn't being cruel. I was being final. As I closed the door behind me for the last time, I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The version of me that loved her had lived there. The version walking out was done pretending. That evening, I moved into a small studio across town. Quiet, peaceful, mine. And for the first time in years, I slept without checking my phone. She called the next day. Then again. Then again. By the fourth call, I'd already blocked her number. She tried texting, emailing, even messaging me through mutual friends. I didn't respond. The old me would have written paragraphs trying to explain. The new me didn't owe her a word. I wanted her to feel what I'd felt, the confusion, the silence, the absence. Not out of spite, but out of balance. She made me question my worth. Now she'd have to question her control. A friend texted me, saying she was back in town, looking for me. Apparently, she'd shown up at my old apartment, found the empty space, and freaked out. She even called Jake, demanding to know where I'd gone. But no one told her. Everyone knew what she'd done. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just gone. And there's nothing more terrifying to a manipulative person than losing the one who used to care. A week later, I got a message request on a new account she made. "Please, just talk to me. We can fix this." I stared at it for a few seconds, then swiped left and hit delete. Fix what? The lie? The months of betrayal? The idea that she could break me and I'd still come running? She didn't understand I wasn't playing her game anymore. She thrived on drama. I chose peace. Later, Jake told me she'd shown up at his workplace crying, saying I'd disappeared. He said she looked lost, really lost, like someone who just realized the power had shifted. I didn't enjoy hearing that, but I didn't feel guilty either. Because when you give someone everything, your love, your time, your loyalty, and they destroy it, disappearing isn't cruelty. It's self-respect, and I was finally learning to respect myself again. It's strange how quiet life becomes after chaos leaves. For weeks, I didn't hear a word from her, not directly, at least. But mutual friends mentioned she'd been calling around, asking if I'd really moved on. Apparently, she was shocked I hadn't come storming back to fight for her. That's what she expected, the old me, desperate to fix things. But I wasn't that person anymore. I stopped checking her socials, stopped wondering who she was with, stopped imagining her face every time my phone buzzed. Healing didn't happen all at once, it came in pieces. Like the first morning I woke up and didn't think about her. Or the first evening I laughed at something and realized it wasn't forced. I didn't need closure from her. I already got it the moment I saw how calm I could be in her absence. The peace I'd been begging for in that relationship had finally arrived, just not in the way I expected. A few months passed. I focused on work, hit the gym again, started traveling a bit. Life became light again, unburdened. I remember sitting by the ocean one weekend, just watching the waves move without rushing. That's how my heart felt steady, quiet, unbothered. I realized something important then. When you truly heal, you stop needing them to hurt. You just don't care anymore. The person who once controlled your emotions becomes a stranger you wish well from a distance. Jake told me she'd moved back with her parents. He said she wasn't doing great, that her new guy had already moved on. I didn't react. Not out of coldness, but because that chapter of my life had already closed. I'd become invisible to her, but visible to myself again. That's what ghosting really is. Not disappearing from their world, but reappearing in your own. Months later, out of nowhere, I got an email. No subject line, just a short message that said, "I know I don't deserve it, but I miss you. I never realized how much you did for me until you left." I read it once, then deleted it. No anger, no satisfaction, just peace. Because that's what real closure looks like. It's not the apology, it's the silence afterward. I walked out that night she cheated, and she never saw me again. I erased myself from her life not to hurt her, but to free myself. To remind myself that love shouldn't feel like surveillance, manipulation, or guessing games. If someone treats your loyalty like it's disposable, disappear. Don't argue. Don't explain. Just walk away. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't making them regret losing you. It's showing them that you never needed them to begin with.